Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark. We're on Sirius XM. We are on YouTube. We're on X. We're on Facebook. We'll be here until about 11 o'clock Central Time, and then we're moving on to the Stadium app where we'll answer all your burning questions on last call. But in the meantime and between time, privileged, honored to be joined by High Point basketball coach Alan Huss, who is moving on, still alive after I guess you could call it a comeback win down at the half, 77-63 over Radford. They are moving on. Coach, congratulations on the win. I'm always interested at half. Is it a situation where it's like, look, we're the one seed. We know who we are. What are we telling the guys at the half down two?
What half we had kind of settled in a little bit. Now, when it was 18-4 to start the game the wrong way, we were having some maybe momentary the doubt levels had gotten pretty high there, and we were a little tight. So at that point, I'm glad you didn't ask me that same question. By the time we got to the half, we realized that at some point, yes, we could make a basket.
Hey, Huss, you took over and you're picked 7th out of 9 teams. High Point hasn't done anything for a while. Beautiful campus. I've been down there. Gorgeous. It looks like a Four Seasons. When did you realize that you had a team that could kind of compete for the league title, which you won, number 1 seed, and have a chance to go to the, you got a couple more here, but can make a run at an NCAA tournament bid?
It's been such a crazy ride. We lost Liam McChesney to an illness for the season. He was probably our most proven player. And then D. Barnes was ruled ineligible by the NCAA in his quest for an additional year. He was our second most proven player. So, kind of as we thought we were going to come together and had some pieces that could be pretty good, we lost those 2 guys and we had to reinvent ourselves again in September. And so I don't know that we necessarily ever had time to kind of think about winning championships. We were trying to win days and just win segments in practice early on. And that's not just coach speak. We were in some pretty interesting and difficult places, when trying to throw together an entirely new roster. We have 1 guy from last season that gets to play it all for us, in Abdul Thiem. So we had to bring in an entire new roster of players, an entire new staff. I took the job. Luckily, I knew that High Point was a special place, but I took the job sight unseen. I'd never been to, High Point or to the university when I accepted the job. We were in Louisville, Kentucky, getting ready to play Princeton in the Sweet 16 when I realized that it was getting pretty serious. We did a Zoom call. It was maybe my second or third one at that point, but just prior to our game with with Princeton in the Sweet 16. I got asked if I wanted to do a Zoom call with the president. I figured that, it's pretty serious if it's getting to that level. So it came out of nowhere, and I was ill prepared. I hadn't thought much about a staff or a roster or anything like that. I was just trying to figure out how to beat Princeton and then San Diego State. And this thing, since that moment, it just hadn't slowed down. It's just, I'm sure you've heard from many people you've had on here, when you take a new job, it's just, there's not a whole lot of sit around and getting overly theoretical. It's just kind of tackle the problems that smack you in the face every day.
How special is it to get to play your conference tournament on your home court? The atmosphere looked really good today. Obviously, students around. How cool is that for you to have that support during this 3-game journey?
Yeah, it's been pretty awesome. The Cabane Center this year, we've really the program's kind of grown and found success this season. The school has really supported us, our student body. I think we had over 2,000 students in the building today, and that's the 3rd time I believe we've gotten to that level this season. But we really are fortunate to have a building that's really outside the power conferences. There's nothing really like it in the entire country. It's pretty awesome, and it's a lot of thought went into the building, and it's pretty neat. It's just it's got all the amenities, but also it's an intimate environment, and it's an awesome place for a conference tournament. I think everybody in the Big South will agree we need to make it an annual thing.
Jeff kind of touched on it, but obviously you were the recipient of the Joe B. Hall midseason coaching award, and you're in the business. And I feel like what I hear most from the industry is a lot of complaining. I mean, it's just the truth, and maybe some of it's valid, but you mentioned it. You come in, you have to really replenish and replace the whole roster. Not a lot of complaining. You just go in and you get the job done. So, what differentiated your ability to do that, and what made it possible for you at High Point?
I mean, kind of like my man Jeff Goodman just said, I'm just an old stupid prep school coach and high school ball coach and AAU coach, and it's kind of what I've done most of my life is throw together teams, not much practice, and just kind of roll it out there and see what happens. So it's a game I've been playing for a long time. Honestly, though, I got fortunate with with our staff. I've got 3 guys that worked with me at Creighton, a couple that played for me in the past when I was a prep school coach. Glenn Clayman came over from Todd Simon's staff at Southern Utah. I feel like I've got a really good staff that helped our guys learn once we figure out who the heck was on our roster. And that's the beautiful thing about it for those of you that have watched a little bit of Creighton, where I came from for the past 6 years. It's a pretty awesome style to play. And I think that's the one thing about our system. It's not like we're asking guys to come in and grind it out and play 45 to 45. We run up and down. I think we led the league in scoring by a pretty substantial margin. We're the most efficient team offensively in the history of the Big South Conference since Ken Palm's been around. So we've got a system that's fun. It was easy to get guys to buy into that. We still don't really guard anybody, but it's fun to play offense. And so at least on that side of the ball, guys have been, they've bought into the idea of just running up and down, trying to score 2 more points than the other team.
Hey, you learn how to not guard anybody from the guy that you work for at Creighton over there, McDermott, who just got. It's not. I don't think it was announced, but obviously we know he signed, agreed to an extension to stay at Creighton. Give me your favorite Max story from being around him at Creighton. Give me something that doesn't involve you and he on the golf course together, though.
Well, I couldn't be on the golf course with Mac because he's a golfer, and I'm a guy that goes out there and drinks a couple of beers and swings and misses. So to say that we even play the same sport would be
you could caddy. You could caddy for him. You could caddy for him.
Yeah, I can't even do that though. I mean, they're real golfers. They know what they're doing. Like I'd mess them up. I'd give them the bad yardage, or I'd write the wrong thing in the book. The best thing I can tell you about Mac's got unbelievable work-life balance. I always joked with him that he can get away with it because he's so much smarter than everybody else. That's the thing with Mac, though. Mac would watch me get so stressed out, kind of laugh at me and tell me I needed to get a hobby or play golf or do something other than complain and call and text him. But, it works for him because he's so smart. And his attention to detail, the guy can watch a game once, and he pulls more from it than I watch it when I watch it 7 or 8 times. So learning from him and watching the way he treated people every single day, it's just what an unbelievable mentor. And I know there's a lot of different ways to do it, but watching Coach Mac come up with game plans and scheme and just watching him remake himself. You talk about flexibility, and he's a guy that's done it for 30 some odd years as a head coach, but not only is he adapted to the NIL space and to the transfer portal, but he completely remade himself. He used to be a guy that walked the ball up the court and ran 300 sets. And, then he became this up and down, let it fly deal and he remakes himself then. And, people don't really talk about it, but his kind of recommitment to the pack line style defense and the drop pick and roll coverage here 4 or 5 years ago with Ryan Kalkbrenner and kind of building the system that way. I mean, they've been a top 10, 15 defense for 3 or 4 straight years now. And, before that, another top 20 defense with Christian Bishop, hard hedging ball screens out to half court. But his ability to see what he's got and just figure out the way they're going to play. He can walk it up and beat you 48 to 46. He can beat you 103 to 102. And now they're guarding people too. So that's probably the more than any anecdotal story I'll tell you. Just watching him, kind of look at what he's got and not say what so many coaches in our business say, which is, I do this and I run this system every year and these play calls every year, but he just does it differently and figures out what he's got in his deck and which one of his pieces he has an advantage over the guys on the other roster. And I'll give him credit for a guy that's done it for a long time. Never heard him complain once about NIL. Never heard him complain once about transfers. Just figured it out. And again, I go back to the point, he's just smarter than everybody else. And people may just think that watching his press conference, spending every day with him for 6 straight years. He legitimately is just smarter than everybody else.
Judge, you mentioned your prep school background. Obviously, a lot of ADs, search firms making decisions right now. What about that background made you a good candidate for High Point, and why should ADs and search firms want guys with unique backgrounds who've been head coaches before?
I mean, I think you said it. I mean, just the idea of having to throw together a roster, at least a big part of a roster every year, is what the challenge is now in college basketball. And when you're coaching prep school or AAU, you got to coach guys hard. You got to get your guys better. But if you do it the wrong way and if you don't tell them the truth, at the end of the day, your team just leaves. And so, that's what we deal with now at the collegiate level. And so I think that's the piece that had me most prepared for this job. But I would tell you this. I mean, you look back and I think about all the guys having success that were high school coaches and kind of coached on that national prep and high school circuit. Guys that have done it at that level. There's just so many good coaches, and not even the ones that have jumped to the college level. There's so many that that are still doing it at the high school level. I mean, I can tell you, Coach Boyle down at Montverde. Maybe I'm going to get a violation for this, but he blistered my butt so many times. I don't care to ever see him on the other side of it. And people think
you're not the,
you're
not the only one.
The boys. No, the guy, he's kicked my butt where I had less talent than him, more talent than him, every way you can have it kicked. So there's just so many good high school coaches out there, and they've been playing this game for a long time. There's never been real high school rules in place, or AAU rules in place. You go out there, and if you don't treat people the right way, they leave you. So I think to search firms and and to ADs, there's a lot of people with experience at those lower levels, even the Division II level and the Division III level and NAIA and junior college. You look at so many of those guys that have had success at lower levels. There's a lot of good coaches at those levels. So, there's a lot of capable people. It's not just the guys that were at the Division I level, that's for certain.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.